Students, a very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing about case study based problems. So today let's continue our discussion on the case study based problem. As while discussing the case study, we have discussed about a case that was Coulomb's force, and later I have just told you one of the case study that was related to electric dipole, and one of the questions we have solved on that one. Now let's see the rest of the questions related to electric dipole case you have discussed, you have listened already in the last class. So let's start today from this topic. So here this you can see the page that is related to the same case study that we have discussed in the last class. So some of the lines you can see on the top of this one. So let's see now one by one the questions of here. So our first question is now, what will be the value of electric field at the center of electric dipole? So if you will see now at the center of electric dipole, what will be the value of electric field here? So at the center of an electric dipole, electric field becomes two times the electric field due to single charge. So this is very simple question that you can conclude easily by the application of or by the theory of the dipole, as dipole is formed whenever we have two charges, equal charges of opposite nature that are separated by some distance 2a. Now you can calculate the value of electric field at its center, and you can find out the at center what will be the value of electric field. That will be always two times the electric field of this one, because the electric field due to this charge and this charge, that will be added up, and already their directions are different. So due to that one, they will be added, and two times electric field we will get from here. Now after this, the second question, let's see. Second question is, if r is the distance of a point from the center of a short dipole, then the electric field intensity due to short dipole remains proportional to. So short dipole, it means that the distance or the dipole length, that is very less in comparison to the distance at which we are calculating the electric field intensity due to. Suppose this is the electric dipole, we have here q2 of the charges we have, and now if you will see the distance between these two charges, that is 2a, and we are calculating electric field at any axial point that is very far away from this. So suppose from the midpoint the distance of this point P is r. So here if this r is much greater than a, for this case a situation we are observing the for the electric field. So electric field at axial point, if you will calculate it, it is obtained as 2 p dot r upon epsilon 0. Now r square plus a square power, you can see 3 by here, sorry, square here, not in the 3 by 2. So in this case obviously you can see now, and also here I think 4 pi epsilon 0 is whole as it is, you can write here. Now in this whole case, what is the our conclusion about this one? Conclusion is that if you will solve this for this particular case, then that time this a can be neglected, and if a can be neglected, then this will be this can be solved as, and this will be varying as just let me just rub it first. So if it will vary, then electric field, this will become now 2pr upon epsilon 0 into, as a we have neglected, so r power 4 we will have, already r square we have, one of the r will be cancelled out from here, so it will be 3. So e, you can see this is inversely proportional to r cube. So if it is inversely proportional to r cube, then you can write e is now directly proportional to r power minus 3. So this is our answer for this question. Now this is the electric field intensity for which it is varying for the short dipole. Now next question, let's see question number 8. So question number 8 is, an electric dipole coincides on z axis and its midpoint is on origin of the coordinate system. So the electric field at an axial point at a distance z from the origin is Ez, and electric field at an equatorial point at a distance y from the origin is Ey. So here a condition is given, z is equal to y, that is very greater than a. So what will be the value of Ez and Ey? So as first in our question it is given, so electric dipole that is coincides on z axis and its midpoint is on the origin of the coordinate system. And for that one, the electric field at axial point we can calculate in the z direction. For the condition here, this condition you can see again, this condition is for the short dipole condition. So variation just like just now with the formula we have seen. So for the direction y, you can calculate the value of Ey for the axial point. So just write down, I have written the formula. So with the help of that one we can write 2p upon 4 pi epsilon 0 here y cube. And similarly you can write it for the z also. So Ez, this will be now 2p upon 4 pi epsilon 0 z cube. So these two things first we have discussed. Now what we have to find out, we have to find out the value of Ez upon Ey. So first one thing here, as along the y that if you will write, so whenever you will take z as the axial direction, then obviously z according to z, y is at the at 90-degree angle, so obviously that will be equatorial direction. So if this is suppose the z direction, this is the axial point of the dipole, then it is given that this electric field at an axial point at the distance z from the origin Az. So this is the axial direction, and electric field at an equatorial point. So for the equatorial point, let me just rub this one first. Again we can make it here, this is our z, and along this equatorial point you can see this is equatorial point. You know, this is the line that we are drawing from the origin. This is now equatorial point. At this point we have this y direction. So as you know, along the equatorial points, the electric field for the short dipole is equal to now Ey. This is equal to, now here 2p will not be in our question, so you have now corrected that one. So this will be y cube, and Ez just now we have written, that was 2p upon 4 pi epsilon 0 z cube. Now if we will take the ratio of Ez to Ey, so obviously you can see it is greater 2 times we will observe, so its answer will be now 2 times. So this is I think clear, because we will get again z cube upon y cube, then that will be obviously that are equal, so it will be 2. Now next question you can see, an electric dipole of moment P is placed in a uniform electric field E. So the maximum torque experienced by the dipole is, so as you know, the torque experienced by the dipole is given by tau is equal to now Pe sine theta. This is the formula for the torque that is experienced by any dipole when it is kept in external electric field. So we have to write down the value of maximum torque experienced by dipole. So maximum torque the dipole will experience whenever this value sine theta will be maximum, and we know the maximum value of sine theta is 1, so its value will be equal to obviously 1, and this will be equal to Pe. So this answer is correct for us. Now the last one question for this case study is, the frequency of oscillation of an electric dipole having dipole moment P and rotational inertia I oscillating in a uniform electric field E is given by. So as you know, whenever some of the body that is rotating, so in that rotating a restoring torque for the small theta that will act here, because whenever it will start to rotate, then system will start to oppose this one, and in opposition it will starts to apply some of the force in opposite direction by the application of the torque. So the torque applied to restore the body in its original position, that is equal to tau is equal to minus of Pe, just in opposite direction, that's why minus sign we will get, this is sine theta. and as it is given for if theta is very small for the oscillation, then sine theta can be written as theta, so we can write pe theta now. And as we know by the rotational inertia concept, tau is equal to this is now I alpha. So I is what? I is moment of inertia, alpha is angular acceleration for the system. So if you will calculate alpha from here, so alpha is equal to minus of pe upon I into theta. So from here, as you can see, this P is constant for the dipole, E is constant uniform electric field, I is moment of inertia of the system. It means that alpha, that will be now directly proportional to theta. So if alpha is directly proportional to theta, it means that here the oscillation is being, and also we can see now what will be the value of nu here, or frequency here. So as you know, value of frequency is given by omega upon 2 pi, and now you can compare the equation alpha is equal to now omega theta alpha is equal to omega square theta. So from there you can compare your equation, and if you will compare this one, so you can obtain nu is equal to 1 upon 2 pi root of pe by I. So this is now our value of frequency here, so that the system will through that system will oscillate. So our answer here, that will be correct. This is now the second option will be correct here. So students, I think this case study is now clear to you all. Let's see now the next case study for this one. So next case study, you can see this is given Gauss theorem. So this is again for the electrostatic, you can see this case study. So let one time let's read the case study, and you can also see as you are seeing, you can read it. The term electric flux implies some kind of flow. So flux is the property of any vector field. Electric flux is a property of electric field. Similar, like number of times you have studied the flux, gravitational flux, magnetic flux. So flux is what? That is simply denoting or relating the the field, whether it is gravitational field, magnetic field, or electric field. Simple. Now you can see it is equal to the product of the given area and the normal component of the electric field through it. So Gauss theorem gives a relationship between the total flux phi passing through any closed surface S and the charge Q enclosed within the surface. So it states that the total flux through a closed surface is 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. So mathematically you can see the equation. And now Gauss theorem is quite useful in calculating the electric field in problems where it is possible to choose a closed surface. That is, the electric field E has a normal component which is either 0 or has a single fixed value at every point on the surface. So symmetric considerations in many problems make the application of Gauss theorem much easier. So the closed surface we choose having symmetry consideration in view to solve a given problem is called Gaussian surface. So Gauss theorem is based on inverse square dependence on distance contained in Coulomb's law. So any violation of Gauss theorems will reflect a deviation from the inverse square law. So these are very important lines that is given for the Gauss theorem. You can see the basics from here also, like this line you can see, this is very important line. If any deviation will be in Gauss theorem, then simple, it is showing the deviation in inverse square law. So and also Gauss theorem we can apply whenever we can choose or we have the closed surface, like symmetry consideration also we can see, and through that symmetry consideration easily we can apply the Gauss law anywhere. So next here questions, let's see on this one. So you can see some of the questions now. So the first question on this one is given, what is the SI unit of electric flux? So electric flux, as you know, this is phi E. Just now in above you can see the here, sorry for that one, you can see from here this one you can see. So let's use this one, E dot ds, to just solve or to find out the unit of its. So phi E, you can see this is equal to EA. Exactly, you can use this relationship to find out the SI unit of this one. So as electric field, its SI unit, that is Newton per coulomb. So you can write here Newton per coulomb, and area, its SI unit is meter square. So you can search now where this one is correct. So obviously the first option you can see that is correct. Now the second option, that is actually not clear in the question, but I can tell you what is the this question. So this question is saying, if closed integral E dot ds, this factor, this is 0 inside a surface, then that means there is, first option is here, the things that is not looking here great. So that is first option, in no charge present inside the surface. Second option you can see from here, that is uniform electric field inside the surface. Third is discontinuous field lines inside the surface, and fourth is some charge present inside the surface. So first let's see what it is representing. So as you know, this closed integral E dot ds, that is equal to again pi. You can see it from here again. So a closed integral E dot ds, that is equal to q by epsilon 0, that is given in this question, that is given 0. So it means that you can write q by epsilon 0, this is now 0. So this is implying that q is equal to 0. So as it is given for inside a surface, it means that inside the surface no charge will be present. So our first option will be correct for this question. Now let's see next question. For a given surface, the Gauss law is stated as E dot ds closed integral. Then what can we conclude from this one? So first is given A is electric field is necessarily 0 on the surface. Electric field is perpendicular to the surface at every point. Third option you can see from here, this is now the third option. The total flux through the surface is 0. So the flux is only going out of the surface. So in this whole of the discussion, if you will see what it is representing, so the total here in all of the discussion, as two options are here. First let's see the first option. So it is given that A is necessarily 0 on the surface. It is not mandatory that if this integral is 0, it is also equal to E upon q upon psi. So it is also possible that this q is 0. For that, students, we can see our first and second options that cannot be correct here. Now let's see the third option. So third option is total flux through the surface is 0. So it means that it is saying that the flux that is entering to the surface, and that will be equal to the flux that is going out to the surface, and in that way total flux will be 0. It means that the phi E, that is equal to obviously integral over E dot ds, this will be 0. And you can see this explanation is correct for our question. So it means this option will be correct. Now the fourth one, you will see the flux is only going, so that is not possible. If it will only go, then that time flux cannot be equal to 0. So that's why this option is wrong here. Now let's see the next question. So for the next question, students, if you will see a figure you have given, in that one three of the charges you can see, q1, q3, q2 and q3. These three charges are now given. So for these three charges, now here the question is given now, the electric field or electric flux for Gaussian surface A that encloses a charged particle in free space is q1, q2 and q3, that is given now. So question is what here, the question is simple. We have to calculate what will be the value of Gaussian surface for this question. So let's calculate the question now. So for the calculation of this question here, what you can do now, so students, first of all, to calculate the total electric flux, as you know, the Gauss law is saying that this closed integral E dot ds, this is equal to now here that is equal to obviously phi E, and this is q enclosed upon epsilon 0. So this is our Gauss law. Now we have to use this Gauss law to find out the value of you can say simple what will be the electric flux. So let me so as you can calculate now what will be the value of q net in this case. So q net will be now q net, this is equal to obviously the sum of these three charges. So charges are given q1, q2 and q3. So q1 has value minus 14 nanocoulomb, q2 has value 78.85 nanocoulomb, and q3 is given minus 56. Now if you will calculate this value, so this value is obtained now as this is equal to 8.85 you will get after solution. So this is now the value of nanocoulomb that we have got now. So the net flux, if you can calculate, net flux is equal to, as you know, q net divided by epsilon 0. So you can write down the value of q net, so that is 8.85 nanometer. Let's convert it into meter. So this is 10 power minus 9. Now epsilon 0, you know its value is 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12. So here you can see this will be cancelled out, and if you will take 10 power minus 12 in upward direction, that time you will get 10 power 3 here as the answer. So you can see this answer is correct. Why this answer is correct? You can see the unit from here. So unit is Newton per coulomb meter square. This is unit, that is correct. This unit is wrong, that's why this option will not be correct. Next question, you can see that is charge q is first kept in a sphere of radius 5 centimeter, and then it is kept in a cube of side 5 centimeter. So the outgoing flux, we have to say the answer for this one. So first option is given, will be more in the case of sphere, second is will be more in the case of cube, third is will be same in both cases, and fourth is cannot be determined. So as you know, the outgoing flux, that is not depending on any kind of shape or size of the surface, it is only depending on the area of the surface. So that's why you can see if the side is same, then that time it will not depend on the shape of the surface. That as it will not depend on the shape of the surface, then that time its value will be same in both of the cases. So this is now our answer for the question. So after this case study, again students, we have the next case study that is related with the topic now, electrostatic potential. So electrostatic potential, also this question was in your RT. So let me read this case study for you. Later we will solve the questions on this case study in the next video of mine. That's here case study is given. An electric potential is defined as the amount of work required to move a unit positive charge from a reference point to a specific point in an electric field without producing an acceleration. So you can see now, for example, if we have to move any charge to a certain point, then that time we need to do some work against the electric field of that charge, and the work that is we are providing it without acceleration, that is known as its electric potential. Now usually if you will see the reference point that is taken as the earth, or a point at infinity where the potential is taken as 0, means outside the area or outside the region of the electric charge, if some of the charges we are keeping, that is called infinity point. So from where if we will bring the charge, then that time we are calculating work done here. So reference point that you are choosing, that is very important here. So that point you have to choose beyond the region of the charge where its electric field is present. Next one, the potential for a positive increases when it moves against an electric field, and decreases when it moves with the electric field. So it means as the potential, you will see where the electric field increases, potential starts to increase, or if it will move, you can say opposite to the electric field, and that time it is increasing. And if you move with the flow of electric field or with the direction of electric field, it start to decrease. So like we define electric field as the force per unit charge, we can define the electric potential as potential energy per unit charge. So electric potential can be expressed in the units of joule per coulomb or volt. Electric potential near an isolated positive charge is positive, because work has to be done by the external agent to push a positive charge. This line you can note here, that is very important for a certain region also. Next now, the electric potential near an isolated negative charge is negative because the positive charge is attracted by the negative charge. So this is all you can see the case that is defining the electric potential in very well manner. You can just keep this case study as a safe way, and you can understand later. You can study also for the assertion region problems, because some of the basic topics are given for the electric potential. So students, I think today whatever we have discussed, that is all clear to you. All the case studies up to now, we have discussed 3 case studies, so I think that will be very helpful for you for your term 1 examination. So let's end today's class from here. We will see the electric potential and also electric capacitance, these topics, in our next case study problems. So for today, let's end it here. Thank you, students.